Welcome to Networking with Nathaniel, a podcast where I get to dive deep into the journeys of entrepreneurs, real estate investors, business owners, and just people that are making waves in their industries, in their careers. Whether you're an entrepreneur yourself, a business owner, or you're just somebody who's looking to level themselves up, you are in the right place. We get to talk to these people, learn a lot about their journeys and what makes them tick and how they've had success. I'm Nathaniel Hovsepian. I am a husband, a father, a real estate investor, a health and wellness coach. I have done millions of dollars of real estate transactions in my career. I've helped other people do the same. But this podcast is not about me. This podcast is about our guests. I look forward to introducing him in a minute. But if you're joining us live, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on that channel. If you're joining us in the future, do the same. Seriously, don't be the person that comes up across an opportunity and minutes or moments later, they go, shoot, I should have taken advantage of that. Take advantage of it right now. Hit the subscribe button. That way you can be notified of all the videos that we do and every time we go live. Without further ado, I'd like to give a little intro of our guest today, Mike Davis, who got his start creative finance in the real estate space and has since transitioned it into the automotive space and is doing some really cool things on his platform that he has created with creative finance, with vehicles. Without further ado, welcome to Networking with Nathaniel, Mike. Appreciate you having here.
Appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. I hope I did you some justice with that. I know that we have a lot to unpack here. So I want to get us started here. Oh, Curtis says he just talked to you yesterday.
My man.
Yeah, that's serendipitous. Tell me what you're working on. Kind of explain what this creative finance in the auto industry is.
Yeah, man. So we're pioneering the creative space for auto. So creative finance works across every asset class. We learn it in real estate and we're able to execute it. So I've had plenty of experience in the real estate space, closing cash deals, creative deals, wholesaling, whether it's hybrid, whether it's seller finance, whether it's sub-2, taking over payments to, novations and things like that. Some of the same principles apply in every asset class. You can deal with it with businesses where you can buy stuff, no money down or no money out of your pocket. Same thing you can do with vehicles. It's just learning how the back end stuff works. So we've kind of driven into the space with auto and understood the process from cars to trucks to boats to RVs to small planes, the whole nine.
Wow. Okay, so you're telling me that if I want to buy a plane here in the future, I'm coming to you to get that thing locked up.
Yeah.
That's a little bit longer term goal for us. But so you mentioned you got started in real estate. Is this sub-2? You got started in sub-2? It sounds like you're maybe one of the founding members of that community.
I'm not a founding member, no. I joined December 2021. Started real estate in 2020. That's when I just took the leap, said screwed up W-2 and just went full force. And took a while to get a first deal, but I was just doing wholesaling cash deals before I knew anything creative. And then ultimately, a couple years later, I learned about creative, was working for a different investor who taught me creative finance. It wasn't Pace, but he taught me how seller finance. And I was just like, yo, what? Like, you can actually do this. Somebody's willing to give you the house with no money down and like no interest for how long? Like, that's insane, right? And but just kind of understanding, how it actually works, how it's actually legal, how you can really, set these plays up. And you can buy properties, you can pay for closing costs without your money, you can get, private money, like how raising money even works, like all that kind of stuff. I learned that a little bit ahead of time and then joined sub-2 after closing my first creative deal on my own. And then, the floodgates open from there.
Yeah. Now you're like, drinking from a fire hose, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much. Feel like it sometimes. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Business life has these ebbs and flows to it. And it's when you're like up at that high and just things are going crazy that you look back on, you go, man, that was a great time. It maybe doesn't feel like it all the time when you're in the
you're in the moment, you want to
the craziness of it. Yeah. But so are you still, it seems like you're kind of focused on the auto space. Are you still doing real estate? Is that something that you've got on autopilot? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to get misconstrued. So I think people know me for like the vehicle space because it's such a blue ocean now, but still definitely tapped into real estate, and I am primarily focused on buy and holds as well. So I'm looking into
Okay.
co-living opportunities. But when I'm dealing with the auto space, I want it to be clear. Like, this is creative finance. Auto just happens to be one of the asset classes, right?
Mm,
One of the things that we're doing and working tirelessly on is building a hub and an ecosystem for your everyday person to be able to understand creative finance and handle these transactions. So we have a platform that we're continuously building upon called sellerfinance.io. You can go to the platform right now. It's a bunch of vehicles on there that's available for purchase, or you can list your vehicles if you've got a loan and you want to get rid of it, or if you're sitting on something that somebody keeps lowballing you for, you don't have a loan, you want to make what it's worth or more than that. You can sell a finance. You can go onto the platform, list your vehicles, and find vetted buyers. There's a whole ecosystem right then and there. But
wow.
ultimately, that platform will service vehicles, real estate, and businesses down the line. So we're creating the hub to make it easy for people to come in, know creative, know how to do deals on their own rather than having to go to a bank or having to deal with realtors and things like that. No shade to the banks or the realtors, they have it in place. But for anybody that wants to deal with creative, you can do it on your own in our platforms.
Yeah, that's amazing. So this is something that you're growing into. I love
Mhm.
the vision here that you're like, I started with this, the vehicles, and
Mhm.
then it's going to grow into, hey, we're adding real estate, we're going to add businesses. Like, who knows where else this could go? We could be selling books and stuff on. No, just,
Nah, that's
with the
primarily this stuff. Wait, we'll
right.
leave that to Amazon right there. But
when
we're very
when
focused.
s- when somebody is thinking about selling their vehicle, um are there like, I don't want to say requirements, but for lack of a better word, requirements like, if it's older than 5 years, for example, it's probably not a good fit, or does that kind of thing apply at all?
I see what you mean. Yeah. So I mean, like, I wouldn't say 5 years, but there are situations where we wouldn't want you to list it because it's just going to sit there. Like, we do evaluate every deal, right? So
Okay.
as it comes on, we still help people understand, obviously what they're doing, how to protect themselves, how to make sure paperwork is right, the process is right, insurance, all of that stuff. We make sure you understand how these deals work because they are creative and they do require a little bit more attention. But
Yeah.
we'll be able to come up with a game plan and let you know, hey, look, bro, this isn't a good enough deal, or we need to change it, figure out some different terms, or hey, this vehicle is just out of commission, it doesn't work, somebody's not gonna buy it, you should better off listening on marketplace for parts, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain situations where it's just obviously not gonna sell, in any kind of arena
Yeah.
outside of a difficult situation. But for the most of the majority, I mean, we deal with vehicles that are classic stuff from the 60s, 70s, 80s. If just
Okay.
restored, we'll deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the
Interesting.
same thing with, like, I mean, there's planes that were built 60s and 70s that still operate just as if they were built today. So I mean,
Wow.
there's different types of vehicles that can still be older and it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I asked that specifically because we were talking about it before we went live here, that
Mhm.
I'm in the market. I have a car that I've had for, geez, it's 2025. 17 years now, and it's still running, but it's not in the best shape, like dog fur and all the things in it. I just hit a raccoon the other day, and so the
Oh
front
wow.
fender is, yeah, just, it was 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm heading to basketball, and that little
Yeah.
bugger, it made me feel so bad, but that's not what we're talking about. So I'd like ask specifically because I think what you said there about this is probably just better for parts at this point. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get top dollar for this car
Yeah,
anymore.
that don't make sense. Like, there's some
Yeah,
situations where it's like, bro, just take the money and run. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
for other situations, it's cool. It makes sense to finance it, or if you got a loan, say it's underwater a little bit, it may make sense to do it this way. Other situations, it's just like, don't just let it go the traditional route.
yeah. I do. And it's funny. I'm in the market to sell my motorcycle too as well, because
Mhm,
it sits in the. I love this motorcycle.
mhm.
I bought it right before we had our first kid, and I think I've ridden it maybe 4 or 5 times in the last 4 years. So poor thing's just like getting out there for.
Man, yeah, that's something we can. That's something we can do.
Yeah.
That's something.
When if I were talking to, so like I'm in the market to buy a new vehicle, and I'm going to start making phone calls to private owners, in the hopes that I can do something creative with them. If
Mhm.
I come to terms with somebody, for example, and I just don't know how to handle the paperwork, is that something that you guys can help facilitate?
Yep. So we have a transaction coordination company specifically
Okay.
designed for vehicles. So we run Top
Okay.
Wheels. We handle process for buyers and sellers. If you already got a deal, so you already worked everything out, you just need to execute it. You need to make sure that the right paperwork is there. The DMV process is done, especially if y'all are in different states, how that stuff works, insurance, payment systems, like how is the money going to get transferred, who's going to pay who, all that kind of stuff. We take care of all of that stuff for you. We have a whole service dedicated to that.
Okay. Yeah. And you know, I don't know about the audience out there, but I'm not saying that I'm an expert in creative finance when it comes to real estate, but I know my way around a little bit at this point. Are there similar vehicles? Yeah, vehicles
I know
is
what you
so
mean. It's
easy.
pun intended
Yeah,
too. I know exactly what
yeah,
you
yeah.
mean.
Are there similar like processes to it when it comes to vehicles? You know, as far as the paperwork goes, or is it really its own kind of beast?
Similar, definitely
Okay.
similar. When you look at it, if we look at it just from its like raw bones, sub two, the idea of sub two works, but it's not in its literal form with vehicles because you can't separate the loan and the title. That typically
Okay.
stays with the lender, right? But you can still, like, that's why we call it like the top method and top wheels, which we'll talk on the top method in a second. But just in terms of taking over payments on vehicles, like typically if there's a loan, there's just a different way that you have to handle it if you're going to take it for the life of the loan without assumption, right? But then the same thing, like we think about in real estate, why would I assume a loan that's going to take 120 days plus all this extra credit stuff when I could just sub to it, close in, 15 to 30 days, you know what I'm saying? And then take over a rate rather than getting a new one. So, or not new one, you know what I'm saying? So it's like there's similarities that when it comes to real estate, but the same thought process you can think of it, but it's just a little bit logistically different.
Okay. Yeah, and having that transaction coordinator, somebody like yourself that knows what the heck they're doing, make sure that it all goes smoothly. That way you don't, you know, buy the thing and 2 months later you realize like, oh shoot, I don't have insurance set up properly like on
Right,
this. If
right,
anything were to happen, yeah, experience.
right.
Yeah.
We have a few top tier TCs on our team too. So they're trained
Okay.
on the top method, which is the safest and most secure way of doing this process, whether you're seller financing or you're subtooing. The top method understands the whole process on, taking over payment safely on vehicles, right?
Yeah.
So just making sure that you got all your stuff set up. We've got folks that are already trained on it fully and are ready to execute your deals.
Like I write with crayons, Mike. Is this something, this top method, that you could explain to me, and I could
Absolutely.
understand it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Crayons, we blow bubbles.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, we can
Yeah.
break it down real simple.
Well, like in just a couple minutes, tell me like what's this top method? How does it break down? How could I, understand it in kind of layman's terms? Not to where I'm gonna not bring the thing to you ultimately anyway, and
Yeah.
somebody that really
No,
knows
I'm
what.
with you. I'm with you. Top method is simple. Simply put like this: you got a loan on your vehicle, and you want to sell it, but you don't want to bring no money to the table to sell it. Sell it with the top method. You can keep the loan in your name. The buyer's just going to become responsible for the rest of your payments. They'll be responsible for the vehicle. You can pass on all of your authority, responsibility. You still maintain a liability to the loan. But y'all two are going to create an agreement between y'all that basically says, you screw me over, I'm going to take it back and come after you before my bank does me. So gives you a shield in case something does happen. Meanwhile, you find a great buyer, like you're screening for a good tenant for your house. They'll take care of it for life. It'll be better than a family member or anything like that because they're still going to treat it just like it's theirs. They ultimately going to get it in the end.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned really briefly there that one thing at least that separates real estate from vehicles is that the loan stays with the title on the vehicles, right? Did I get that right?
The title and the loan are essential. When I say essentially the same thing, I just mean that the lender keeps the title. The lender's the loan, and they going to keep the title. So typically
Okay.
with real estate, the title stays with the homeowner and the loan stays with the lender. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you're buying two products when you buy a house. You're essentially buying one product when you buy a car.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I don't technically own. I mean, I guess technically I
Right.
don't own
Like
it.
nobody. Like if you got a car loan, you don't own that car. So you
Yeah.
have control over it. You got full control over it, right? You're the registered owner for legal purposes, but you're not the owner. So
Yeah. Now, does that if I were to go pay cash for a car, I get the title.
Right.
They write on the thing like a bill of sale. I
Yep.
take that to the DMV or whatever the heck it's called in whatever
Yep.
state you're in.
Yep.
And now I'm the owner of it.
You're the
How does
legal.
that work? And yeah, how does that work in this process? Am I still going through the DMV, like title transfer, like that kind of thing? How does that
Yeah.
work?
If you were to sell or finance it, is basically what you're saying. So you truly be the bank. They'll
Hmm.
finance the vehicle directly from you with the loan. You're going to do the same thing a normal bank would do. Sign a bill of sale. You're going to sign a couple other agreements that's going to create a debt. Go down to the DMV, have it recorded against the title. They'll take the
Okay.
title, you sign it over, they'll take it, and then they'll mail it back to you with you being the legal owner. And then the registered owner will be whoever that is. So you'll be the legal owner or the lien holder, whoever
Okay.
it is. And then the registered owner, they'll get the tags placed in their name and everything like that. You'll be insured. And in case something happens, you get paid first.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, and then in the sub 2 process,
Mhm.
how does the DMV play into that?
They won't play into it until the end unless
Okay.
you're changing states or something like that. If you change the state, you're going to get new tags and everything. They'll still be in the seller's name. So if you're the seller in this case and somebody buys it from you, you're in Texas and they're in California, well, that's fine. Your Texas plates will be surrendered in California. You'll get California, or the buyer get California plates. You'll get proof of them and everything will still be in your name, but the buyer can
Mm,
drive it safely in California with no issues.
interesting. Okay. I don't think I have any more questions about this at the moment.
Yeah,
It's
it's actually pretty straightforward. It's not as
yeah,
and we've simplified a very complex process because
yeah,
it's not complex in the sense where it's not easy to understand. Just fragmented. It's been fragmented forever. That's why typically, if we compare this to like this isn't anything new. Like the idea of sub
right.
two in a vehicle, just for anybody that's watching, is not new. Um,
No.
what it always has usually been limited to is your cousin driving the car or your son, taking the car for the summer, or maybe a friend, that you trust. They're making the payments to you.
Yeah.
You're paying a lender, but they're driving it and they're on your insurance, so they get their own insurance. So however it's done, right? But that's always been a thing. It's just the biggest thing that people have always worried about is who can they trust to take it over, right?
Yeah.
So it's usually been relegated to family because nobody really has like understood all of the nuance of like if it goes to another state and what happens, or if you have to get it back, or what happens if
Mm,
this person stops paying, like all of those things, which all are valid questions, right? And there's like a whole list of questions that people usually have, and we've already ironed them all out, and that's all within the framework of the top method. So all we did was simplify something that's been convoluted into a streamlined process, so it's easy to understand, and now it can be accessible to anybody.
okay. These common questions that you're mentioning, is this something like I could find a FAQ section on the
Yep.
I think it's on the
Yeah, seller
website?
finance aisle. Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
second version is going to have a much larger FAQ, but we do have
Okay.
FAQs available, as well as we have free trainings available. We have our Facebook community of thousands of people that we do these transactions with. There's plenty of
Okay.
resources in there as well, so you can always find answers to everything.
Yeah, dope. I don't think I have the Facebook group. Oh no, yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
it's the sub two
Yeah,
car
top,
community. It's
yeah, that's right.
facebook.com/group/top method.
Yep, and I should have added that to the description. If you're watching this live and it's not in the description, I will make sure that it gets added to the description there.
Mhm.
When you're making this transition, you mentioned, the current status of it. You're doing this 2.0. What do you see as far as time frame for this goes? What hurdles are you kind of foreseeing? What are you kind of needing to get this to that next level?
Yeah, so we're deep into it now. So I mean, at this point, it'll likely be available at the top of next month. If
Okay.
not, towards the middle of next month. We had a few delays and a few setbacks, things like that. Just how technology stuff works. But
Yeah.
as we continue, like I said, it'll be available pretty soon. Hopefully, by the time anybody is watching this, you'll be able to see. But we still have our main version that is available that you can still purchase on, and you have resources. You can always reach out to me directly as well. I'm more than happy to help you guys out. But we're having a system that is integrating with AI, is integrating with a lot of resources that's going to make these transactions much, much faster, much easier, and simpler to deal with.
Dope. Yeah, that's freaking exciting. What does your team look like around this space?
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. So we got a few transaction coordinators. We've got developers for the software. I got my business partner, Vitaly, where we built the platform for. We have some folks on the operator side that are helping deal with like migrations and CRMs and things like that. As far as building, it's pretty a small knit, tight knit team that will continue to expand on as we continue to grow. But that's what we're looking at right now.
Okay. You mentioned a business partner there, Vitaly, I think it was. How did you find him? How did you like vet each other and realize like this is a partnership that we should pursue?
Yeah, that's what we're going after. I feel you. So I actually found out about Vitaly. This was a couple years ago, somewhere random on Facebook in one of the groups, and I saw him. He had a picture with Pace, and he was showing him something, but he had put up the site. At that particular time, I was already looking for a development partner to help me build an app for the vehicles because I already had known like trying to do the deals manually as our business kept growing. Like this, for me, mind you, vehicles was always a side hustle at first.
Okay.
I was focused on real estate. But as the vehicles came and we were like kind of breaking ground and more people kind of knew about it, and they would keep hitting me up about it, and I would keep getting vehicles and keep having people want to get vehicles. So it became to a space where like hand-to-hand combat was just not working. I was like, bro, I'm gonna have to figure out something we can do this digitally. So I always wanted to build an app, which is a matter of like the process, the development, the funds, all that kind of stuff. I was always looking. And I seen him, like I said, somewhere he was showing somebody iteration or a version of the app or something like that, and I had heard about it. I was like, damn, but I forgot to reach out to him at that time. Long story short, so still hustling, still going, and then he ended up actually finding me like probably 6 months, 6-7 months later, because he had heard about me dealing with the cars. Because his vision for the application, as far as was like vehicles, real estate, and business and everything, and I just needed a space for the vehicles at first. I come from the real estate space, so it was easier. And we have folks that are always doing businesses, and Pace has inside of Sub too. He's got a program called Zero Down, where it teaches you how to buy businesses without, using your credit or no money down and things like that. So the ecosystem was always there. He was looking for the ecosystem, and I was looking for the application. So we kind of had a very similar vision up front. Then it just came to us like, continuing to get to know each other. He's a real cool brother. He's actually from the Ukraine too, and he came over to the States. And he's continuing to break ground and build what he's building. And we actually linked up a few times just to really get to know each other, understand where our alignment was, and then we kind of realized like we want the exact same thing. So let's continue to keep on working on this. You know what I'm saying? And just continue on expanding it. Like he's brilliant. You know what I'm saying? And his knowledge and his design capabilities and things like that, as far as how his vision is and our vision, it actually aligns very well. So that's how we linked up.
So it sounds like your skill sets, maybe your passions are complementary to each other.
Yeah.
But then, I don't want to say it's easy to find somebody that's the case with, but you can find people that are like that. Then are we heading in the same direction? Do we have the same vision? Do we have the same goals? And then are our values the same? Like, do we align on that? So, not necessarily like, one doesn't have to be a Democrat, or you don't have to both be Democrats, or you don't have to both be Christians.
Yeah, I mean,
or
stuff
whatever.
Like that don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it's business. At the end of the day, as long as like our values ain't in the dirt, you know what I'm saying? Or like we do like weird stuff behind the scenes, which not we won't come from that. So like our visions in line, our visions are in alignment with what we're pushing for, and that's the biggest thing that we focus on. You know what I'm saying? Everything else continues to build around that. So he's actually become more of a friend now, but like in the beginning, it was always just like, hey, work first. You know what I'm saying? And we continue to build, and it naturally goes there. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, I love that. And a lot of people that are listening, especially when you're starting out, having that person, that partner that you can align with, that's going to really propel you, that complements what you have or what you don't have. That's what gets you to the next level. Like, you can do this alone, of course. What's the saying? It's like, if you want to go fast,
go alone. You want to go far, go together.
Yeah, it's like those things sound cliche when you just say them, but then when you live them, you're like, oh no, this is the truth. This is why certain people have success and certain groups have success and others don't. But you mentioned people, that kind of early on you were looking to sell vehicles, and then people would reach out to you because they wanted to buy vehicles. Is that like a service? Do I come to you and go, hey, I want a 2019 Tahoe, go find me one, Mike? Is that something you provide, or am I reaching?
Yeah, so you're talking more so like bird dog, right? So we do offer that for higher ticket vehicles. But like as time goes on, we'll have a lot more influx naturally, and we'll have more pick of like people's specifics I think the one thing people don't realize right now, we're literally breaking the ground to make it so that it's accessible for everyone to have these opportunities, right? So part of it is like, if you don't know, like you still have to sell somebody on keeping a loan in their name. Same thing like you would deal with a house, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to go and, okay, I want to buy your house up too. They don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe you have to
Yeah.
find a different solution, and maybe you're not the buyer for them. So then, okay, cool. And you just go get a go out to get a traditional loan or get your cash together, right? It's the same situation with vehicles and finding these opportunities where people get so specific, be like, Mike, I want a 2018. No, I want a 2020 Cadillac. It's got to be black, and it's got to be the ESV because I don't want the 19 body style. I want the 20, and I need it next week. Can you do that? And I'm like, bro, do you not realize, like, one, you have to find it locally or abroad, because it's probably not going to be anywhere locally. So you got to find that abroad. Then you have to message a whole bunch of people to find out who's going to actually be okay with doing that. Then you got to be able to get in. You know what I'm saying? Then you have to let them know you're not buying. You're actually going to bring somebody else there. Like, it's a whole process that people don't really get. That and then they got the nerve to say, yeah, and I got $1,000 down.
Yeah.
Bro, what are you talking about, right?
Got to have the red stitching on the seats with
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, like I said, and this is, at this point, people have to understand that obviously, we're a startup, we're continuing to grow. As time goes on, this will be a service that's available for everybody.
Okay.
Right now, it's just too expensive to do that. So we only really do that on higher ticket items, where it's actually worth it, because we have to have commitments and we got to make sure that's on point, that kind of thing. But yeah. So I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, but we can help you. And if we already have what you want, I would take it. And if it's not perfectly like that, paint it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It'll be cheaper in the long run. Yeah, for sure. What are you needing? I know you said, you're a few weeks to maybe a little bit longer away from this thing kind of hitting the ground running. What are you needing for this thing to kind of pop off and, grow, just accelerate?
Well, I mean, we're growing now. I mean, it's, like I said, the version is live. The first version is already live, so it is available. When it comes to our next section, we're continuing to be consistent, and we, could always use more eyes and ears, right? That's number one. But number two is, which, I think we're naturally growing into that space where we'll be getting like funding and stuff like that. So, I mean, right now, it's not necessarily much that we need outside of just awareness and people's understanding of how this process actually works. So we continue to build, we continue to teach, we continue to give more and more content that's available so you can understand exactly how these deals work, what the risks are, what the rewards are, all that kind of stuff. And then just make it so that we have a safe enough space for people to come on in.
Love it. Dang, Nathaniel distracted me here. Good morning, brother. Dang, it's gone. Choo-choo train. Yeah, it left. You mentioned that you're to kind of go backwards a little bit in the conversation almost. You mentioned that you're still in the real estate space. You're still looking to buy, primarily buy and holding. Are there specific markets that you're looking in? Are there specific types of properties that you're looking for, types of deals? What does that all look like?
Yeah, I mean, primarily Maryland and Southern California. So like the Baltimore area and Southern California, like LA County, San Bernardino County, Orange County, places like that. Those are places that I'm familiar with. Those are places that I go back and forth on all the time. And I'm primarily looking for co-living opportunities. 1 to 4 units, townhouses, single families is cool. I will look at multifamily stuff as well. If it's, position right, I'll come in there. But that's primarily what I'm looking for.
Okay. And when you say co-living, are we talking pad split? Or are we talking like solo away from pad split?
Yeah, both. I mean, it's going to depend on the numbers. I'm not opposed to pad split. We know how that process works.
Yeah.
But depending on the situation, it can be done solo too.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. As when you're looking at a co-living property, it sounds like, I just don't want to make the assumptions. Like, are you looking for a specific type of tenant, maybe student housing, young professionals, lower income, or are you just kind of property by property, whatever, is the highest?
At the end of the day, it's still the same thing that we talk about with the vehicles, right? Like, everything still comes down to screening for the right stuff, because that's going to help you out in the long run, versus like getting tenants or renters or whoever that's going to ruin your place, right? So the main thing is still screening, making sure. I don't care if you a young professional. I don't care if you're older and lonely. It doesn't really matter if you need a place to stay as long as you take care of it. Like you'll get through screening and then you can stay. You know what I'm saying? It's more so understanding, like, not to get into the weeds of it with like the type of person, is more so understanding what's going on in the market and abroad. Affordability is very low. Cost of everything is very high. And unfortunately, the ideas of traditional family is not the same as it was before. So people naturally are choosing to just go dolo. And it's like, well, you can't afford a place like can't afford a whole property out here, you know what I'm saying, with normal salaries and stuff like that, with these crazy ass interest rates and how high the inflation is. So having spaces where you can live professionally and with someone else that you maybe not know and have a membership, if you will, that'll just last you 6 months to a year or even a couple of years, whatever that is. If it's good for you and we provide safe and comfortable spaces that still feel like home, that's the main goal, to be able to solve this problem of affordability. Because nobody's really, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's really making more money, but everything's more expensive. And then the idea of doing it all together is not necessarily the same. So for people who suffer from that, we want to be able to help. You know what I mean?
I love it. You mentioned, and I don't know if it was just a choice of words, but you mentioned membership there. Is this a
Membership, you know how
strategy?
passport is, right? Like, because some tenant laws in some states and stuff like that, they continue to create laws to
try to prevent us
basically,
from doing what we want to do.
oppose entrepreneurs that's trying to solve problems, because now they're making money around the law, and it's like, no, we gotta make another law for that because we want to keep the traditional stuff in. It's like your traditional system ain't working, so why you keep on anyway? That's a whole nother rant.
Yeah, we don't. We try to avoid politics as much as we can on that. Sometimes it weaves itself in, but so it sounds like you're doing really awesome things in the co-living space as well, providing housing for these people that I like to think, like, not necessarily that they can't afford sometimes, but that they don't want to have to afford a place of their own. Like, why am I going to go spend 80% of my income on a place when I can go spend 40%? And all I really need is the room and the kitchen and the bathroom, like those types of amenities anyway. So it sounds like that's kind of what you're doing, which is where we're focused on as well. Like, I just want to help people out. One of our missions was like, I want to provide nice homes for people that maybe they otherwise couldn't be in a home that's this nice. If I can provide a nice home for 6 people now and under one roof, like, all the better, right? I've now affected 6 people's lives. So are you doing anything from a, like, house rules standpoint, that is, kind of conflict resolution, keeping people from fighting, just keep the peace in these houses?
I mean, I think anybody would, right? Like, anybody who's gonna have a space where you got people who don't know each other, you gotta have some basic, rules and things like that. People are grown; they're still gonna do what they do, but that's the point of screening. To your point, if you have people who otherwise could, but they just don't want to, right? And they're of a certain type of mindset, which really, that's all it comes down to. It don't come down to how much money you got or don't got. It come down to your mindset. So if you got people that are of a similar mindset, where it's like, yo, I give before I get. I look out for before I decide to, take. You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of stuff, it permeates. I mean, the rules are just gonna be the rules, but like, who raised you? You know what I'm saying? Like if you have a certain type of mindset, then you'll be fine. And those are the kind of people that you are gonna want to look for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just vet them. You can only do so much, right? People are good at kind of pulling the wool over your eyes, so to speak. But
okay, we're gonna do what they do.
vet them as much as you can. Like, we had one that I think it was fish. One of the tenants or one of the roommates had left fish in the fridge, and the guy was like, "No, that fish stinks," and so he threw it away. And you're like, "Bro, you can't do that. Like, that's somebody else's belongings. You can't just throw their food away." But yeah, people are people. What is if I'm new getting started into creative finance. I'm new getting started into real estate. I'm just new. Let's do this. Let me take this backwards, Mike. I'm a new entrepreneur, whether that be real estate, vehicles, car washing service. What have you learned over your time, over the years that you've been an entrepreneur, that could maybe help me get started, and help me maybe not make some of the mistakes, I quote that we've made?
I would say, if you're seriously trying to take this leap, your mindset got to be right first.
Mm.
And I think, I mean, you can read, like, I've got book recommendations and stuff that's helped me out, but it really, what was going on in my life forced me to want to improve, and that it forced me to want to change, mindset. And I'm saying that to say, like, your mindset really got to be on point to even want to take on this kind of journey, because entrepreneurship is not for the weak, bro. And
Yeah.
it's not, and I mean it not like strong physically, I mean like mentally, bro. Like, you're gonna get tested in every way possible. It's about a spiritual journey for real. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not to say anything else isn't, but like, this is very heightened, you know what I mean, in this space, because you ain't got nobody to rely on but the voice inside of you, you know what I mean? And you gotta be able to determine, is you going the right way, is you going the wrong way? And I say that because there's no point in trying to figure all this out on your own. If I was to talk to my younger self, I would say, find somebody who's doing what you want to do, whatever that is. Find out what they're doing, find out what they need, figure out a way to get it to them, and stay close.
I love that. So you're like problem solving right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way you add value, and you learn what adding value actually is. So then you'll learn how to ultimately do that for yourself. But the person that you're trying to help can benefit. And I would do it not even looking for anything back but the game. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me personally. And that's if you want to go faster. But and then you know what I'm saying, you add value to somebody else that's doing the thing that you want. And then you can learn from them, you can understand from them, and you can grow much, much faster.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what Nathaniel wrote here. It is a real adventure. We mentioned the cliche already, it's the one that always pops into my head is like, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah.
It's cliche, but when you're in it, that's what it's about. Because, if you, to use the lottery, for example, like, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a very high percentage of people that win the lottery come into a big chunk of money, and then within a couple of years, that money's gone because they didn't learn the process of being able to handle that and manage it the right way, the correct way. And so, like, yeah, it is about the journey, because you can't just be thrust into $1 million business and expect that business to do well. You have to be able to grow and learn and become a leader and become, the CEO, the business owner of that $1 million business. And so, yeah, I'll get off
Take
that.
the stairs. Take the stairs.
Yeah.
Like doing the elevator is cool if you already been to the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you already know what it's like in the elevator, whether you was born there or whether you had to grow there and then you got knocked down, go ahead, find a way to get the elevator and take back up. You ain't never been up there, you will miss out on the value of the journey. Because like, instant gratification is way more dangerous than like grueling, you know what I'm saying, like journeys and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's I would say it's much worse now, like having to go through it and then having opportunities where, like, in previous situations, you just get thrust to the front of the line. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you wouldn't be able to appreciate that, and you ain't ready. Like, you need to, you know what I'm saying, like, take your time, grow, be patient with yourself, and be patient with the process, and just keep going. You know what I mean? That's where all the real lessons are.
Yep. Translated it into real estate, especially inside the sub-2 community, that specific, the instant gratification, how many people I've seen, I've been in sub-2 for 3 years now. How many people I've seen come in and, like, within the first week, they're like, hey, I got a deal. I got a sub-2 deal. And then you never hear from them again because they didn't figure out the systems and the processes to be able to repeat that. And then, they're expecting that 4 weeks later, hey, I should have gotten another one. I got one within a week, and now they're done. They've given up. And it's like, man, I don't want to say that you shouldn't go out and try to get a deal within the first week, but it's not likely. But
definitely not likely. Definitely not likely.
Yeah.
It took me 8 months to get my first deal, bro. Not in sub-2, but like, starting out took me 8 months to get that first one. And
that's a thing. Like, oh wait, his name was Will. Last week, Uncle Bill buys houses on Instagram. He said it was it took him 9 months, and he was grinding. Like, what did it take for you, and and him? What did it take for you, though, to keep going at 3 months in? Like, man, this is a scam. Real estate's a scam. Those gurus on the internet are scamming me. How did you stick with that?
Yeah, I promise you, bro, his mindset is like, I'm gonna tell you the one book I mean, and really, like I can tell you from a specific standpoint, I'm always going to first say that it's God, because he just gave me the desire, and he put me through the BS to like have to change, you know what I'm saying, my situation. But like the book that I read, it was called Mindset by Carol S. Dweck, and that book helped me understand, like, okay, I really have a fixed mindset right now, and I think that I just have what I am, and that's just what it is. But being able to grow, that changed my whole like outlook on the way that I was going about it. And it was like, all right, cool. I see the proof. I see others winning. I see other people, you know what I'm saying, like doing what's going on. So this ain't phony. Now it might not happen the way that the ads say it, like, yo, get your first deal in 7 days. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case, make $10,000 in 30 days, whatever the case. Like it may not happen like that. But I knew that it was possible for some people. So I know if I see somebody else doing it, I can do it too. And then it just came to just consistency. And it's like, all right, cool. I didn't get it today. I'll get it tomorrow. And I come from a sales background anyway. So it's like, we might have a low month, you know what I mean? But the next month, blow it out the water. Or we might have a low week, but that last week, or we might have a bad day, but tomorrow, you know what I mean? Like it just, you don't get too caught up on it not working, because that's just getting you that much closer to it actually working. And then just staying consistent with it, no matter how long it takes, man. I don't care. Like I'm in the joint for the long run. I'm not here to get rich quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I wanna grow as a person. I want to grow as a man, you know what I'm saying? And be able to withstand like all of the BS in life, period. So I'll keep going. And then that kind of mindset and that growth mindset has helped me to get to, you know what I mean, where it is now. I make more money than I've ever made working these jobs, anything like that. Like there's been situations, even like this month, we going crazy this month, but like, just opportunities, bro. Just like, yo, all you had to do was just keep on going. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep on trying, keep on going at it. And you know what I mean? Like it's going to fall, you know?
I love that. So just the reframing of the like, it takes me, takes me so many no's to get to yes. Each no I get is that one more closer to a yes. Yeah, just like having that mindset. Like again, it's like woo woo or whatever, but like abundance. There's deals out there. I just got to go find them. What was you said it was Mindset? Who was the author?
Carol S. Dweck. Cold.
Cool.
Cold.
Oh, Cole.
No. Cold lady. I'm saying she a cold lady.
Oh, cold lady. Okay. Yeah, Carol. Okay, yeah. I was like, I misheard that one bad. Okay. On the subject of books, just because this is a really good segue here. No. I'm going to stop that. You did mention the book, but you've mentioned Mindset a handful of times. Is there anything that you do on a daily or maybe weekly basis that allows you to stay in that right mind frame, stay in that good mindset that allows you to keep pushing forward?
Yeah, and I could do better with it too. But things that do help. One is gratitude, and just being thankful that you even have an opportunity to go out, breathe, got an opportunity to go out, move your arms, move your legs, got an opportunity to open your mouth that could probably help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Or you can find something that maybe it would help you. Just gratitude for the simple things, to really meditating on like what it is that your goal is and what you're looking for. You know what I mean? And being able to focus on that and allow it to expand. I think just that simple practice every day keeps you in line. And like, all right, cool. I gotta get back to it, because there's distractions. And right now, of course, we're in the most distracted time in human history. So having to come back, step your phone away. You know what I'm saying? Get away from that app. Get away from this and that. It's like, all right, boom, we gotta focus. And then like all of these different tools and things like that, like the time that we in with AI and all this stuff like that. I'm just so locked in on like, okay, cool. I can use that to help the goal. Or I can use this to help the goal. And I can focus on the goal. You know what I'm saying? And dreaming big and being able to just meditate on it every day. I think that's something that helps with the mindset of like growth. You know what I'm saying? Because with a fixed mindset, it's like, it's hard to believe that you can do something that you haven't seen before or somebody else do. But like in growth now, it's much easier to, consider that, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it might even feel like you've been a little delusional, or feel like you've been like you got imposter syndrome and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I do feel like that at times, but then the stuff hits, and then it becomes history, and then it becomes, oh, I've done that before, so I can do it again, and I can do it better. You know what I'm saying? And then just getting used to those kinds of wins over and over again is like in different arenas, you get that confidence that like, damn, I can do this. I can do it. All right, boom, we can put it together, and then just keep on going. You know what I'm saying? So like that's something that I do every day. I'm thankful for. That's like, all right, cool, we can keep on and keep on. You know what I mean?
I like to think that the imposter syndrome never goes away. You just get different higher level imposter syndrome. But
Yeah,
maybe that's just me, looking at like a Grant Cardone and going, yeah, he has imposter syndrome too. He just has it different than I do. Right. Yeah.
yeah,
He's just stepping on a much bigger stage than I am. But
mm,
I am a big believer in the gratitude. And I like that you mentioned that, it's you can be grateful for the littlest things. I don't wear them, but I'm grateful for the slippers when I get out of bed that keep my feet warm on a cold day when I step on the cold floor. Just like it's those little things, because then when something, quote unquote negative happens or that isn't where we're trying to go, I can look back and go, you know what, I got all these things. I'm so blessed. Otherwise, like maybe that deal fell through, the buyer backed out at the last minute, the seller
yeah,
didn't want to do that thing. But I still
yeah,
got my wife, I got my kid, I got the roof over my head, I got all these things that I'm blessed. And even at the most basic level, I
yeah,
freaking got air in my lungs.
yeah.
Millions of people did not wake up today, and
Facts.
I'm blessed with that. Yeah. So I'll get off that soapbox real quick. Um,
Mm,
to kind of go back to the books. I know you mentioned that there's a lot of books. I like to ask every guest on Networking with Nathaniel for some book recommendations, whether they be business, sales. I know you're big on mindset. That's something I'm really big on. I really like the ones that I can read and apply to my business, my
mm.
relationships, my own self. Like, what if other besides Mindset by Carol Dweck do you have?
Yeah, I mean, like, I got a few. Some of the ones that really impact me the most, though. I've got Power of Habit, Atomic Habits is dope. The Miracle Morning is definitely fire. Um, Mastery
Mm,
is humble. Mastery is a humbling ass book. I ain't gonna hold
okay.
you. But Mastery, Robert Greene, the same one with 40 Laws of Power and stuff like that. Like, that definitely helps out a lot. Now I'm sitting there looking at all of my finished joints.
Yeah.
Effect, the 4 Agreements, How to Own Your Own Mind. That's another one. How to Own Your Own Mind. That's similar to mindset in the sense, at least how much impact it had on me. How to own your own mind. Um, how to like take full accountability of everything and everything in your arena, everything in your purview, like your thoughts and stuff like that, and how you have to deal with yourself, how you have to talk to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like that kind of stuff for real. Believe it or not, Trump style negotiation was a good book too. I got that from uh, uh, somebody I was doing sales for a little while ago, but they had recommended the book because it comes down to like how in the hell did Trump go from celebrity, or not celebrity, but real estate investor to celebrity, whatever. It's way before presidency and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just like it wasn't from his standpoint. It was from the perspective of his lawyer, and like how they had to deal with like closing deals and stuff like that, because it helped me in
Interesting.
sales. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the
Yeah.
day. But yeah, now I can go on for a minute, like different
Yeah.
books.
It sounds like, yeah, that's awesome. I like
Mhm.
the 4 Agreements. Would just like what was that one about? What's that one about? Because I feel like I've heard that one before.
Yeah. 4 Agreements. I don't remember exactly which the 4 right now I've had, but essentially it's like agreements with yourself. Like the
Yeah.
the
Okay.
main 4 Agreements, you got to hold like ultimate accountability on the agreements of how you're gonna carry yourself, how you carry
Okay.
others, how you handle business. You know what I'm saying? Like it's being really, really, really locked in and accountable for you to so you can continue to improve pretty much.
I love it. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking that one was. I really like you got super passionate about how do you own your own mind. And so that's moving to the top of my list. So I
Mhm.
appreciate you.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
uh,
Let me know how it helps you.
yeah, I will. I for sure will. I ask everybody this. I did kind of pre ask you ahead of time.
Mhm.
When your time on this earth is done, Mike, and you're wherever you believe that you're going, what do you want to be remembered for by the people that you left behind here on Earth?
Ultimately, and I know we all are on our journey, but for real, for me, the only thing that I want anybody to remember me for is that um, he gave everything that God gave him back. He emptied the
Mm,
fuselage. He dumped the tank. You know what I'm saying? He ain't leave nothing here that otherwise was given to him that he just kept for himself. Like, I don't want to keep anything. like anymore. I don't want to live for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I only want to live to be an example of the one that gave me life. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't make my own heartbeat. I ain't make the sun come up and set. I ain't do none of that. You know what I mean? And this life is a gift for any of us. And I just wanted to be known that this same gift, I let it go. Just gave it up. You know what I'm saying?
I love that, man. I appreciate that. Where can people? I know I dropped the website in the chat here. It should be on the description already. If it's not, I will make sure it gets on the description. But where can people connect with you? Learn more about you, bring you deals, bring you vehicles.
Yeah, 100%, man. Reach out to me at Mike Will Close It. Facebook, I'm on there every day, all day. And Instagram as well. You can shoot me a DM. You can come into our Sub2 car community. You can learn more about everything vehicle related. That is facebook.com/groups/top method. Feel free to shoot me a DM, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you out. We'll jump on Zoom. You'll meet the team. We'll go ahead and walk through any deal that you have, whether you got a piece of real estate that you need help closing. Maybe you're in negotiations, you can't get over the hump. I'm going to close at the end of the day so we can lock that stuff up and get you paid or get you a deal that you want for yourself. Same thing on the vehicle side. If you do have vehicles, I think I seen somebody in the comments was saying they wanted to sell a finance a four-wheeler. Reach out to me. You know what I'm saying? Let's make something happen. We'll be able to evaluate it and get it over to somebody who can be trusted with it. So any situations that you have like that, I'm more than happy to help you out.
Awesome, man. I dropped those in the chat for everybody that's here live. Those, like I said, they will be in the YouTube description if they're not already. I appreciate you for coming in, Mike.
Yeah,
if you would hang out just for a minute to make sure all the recording and everything goes through, and I'll see you in a second here.
Cool.
That was Mike Davis, real estate and vehicle creative financing expert, closer. Like he said, if you've got deals in Southern California or Baltimore, Maryland, just the Maryland area, real estate wise, reach out to him. Like I said, the links will be in the YouTube description. He mentioned it. It comes down to mindset. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a business owner, this is what you got to be working on. You can learn the step-by-step procedures on how to do pretty much darn anything these days. ChatGPT, YouTube University, you ask it, it will tell you how to do it. But if you don't have that right, you're not going to be successful. You're going to give up at the first sign of adversity. You're not going to know how to push through those things. So work on that, work on the head, read some of those books, listen to some of those books that Mike dropped knowledge. I'm working on a book list that will be available in the upcoming months, hopefully, that all of the books that have been recommended by people on Networking with Nathaniel so far. So you can easily just go see the ones that are the most popular, see the ones that have affected the most people. If you're listening live right now and you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like this video so we can reach more people, so you can know every time we go live. If you're listening in the future and if you made it this far, do the same. If you're needing help inside your business, if you need those more actionable steps, we don't do the mindset so much in Helping Hands Hour, but if you need some more actionable steps, go to nathanielhovsepian.com. Come to Helping Hands Hour. We're live every Thursday at noon Eastern time. Get your questions answered, get you unstuck in your business. Stay tuned for next week. We have another amazing guest. We're going to keep this train rolling on Networking with Nathaniel. Thanks for being here. Later, guys.